Bienvenidos and welcome to the Council's 10th annual Hispanic Heritage Month commemoration. Thank you to all of our honored guests, community members, and friends for being here to celebrate with us. Among us today, we have our distinguished guest, who is no stranger to this body, although will be joining us virtually, Mr. Tom Perez, Senior Advisor to President Biden and Director of the Office of Intergovernmental Affairs, and a former council member in this chamber. We are so honored to have Mr. Perez here with us today, and I will pass it over to him to say a few words. Welcome. You have lots of titles, but our favorite is council member, so I'm going to refer to you as Council Member Perez. Welcome.
Amen. That's an honor. My best title is Dad, and my preferred title is Tom. So it's great to see you, Mr. Vice President. Great to see others on the council. Great to be back. Wow, now that I have the panoramic shot, it's you've done some upgrades, I see, and it looks wonderful. I have such fond memories, and my first observation is not simply the physical structure there, but our council is really making great progress in looking like the county. And one of the reasons we love living in Montgomery County and have so for the majority of my life now is the rich diversity that is our county. And when I look at our council, it is a true reflection of that diversity. So it's great to be back. And I really do have the fondest memories, and it triggers so many. Every time I travel on the Beltway and I see Holy Cross Hospital, I think of the maternal partnership that we've had. As you all know, Holy Cross delivers more babies by a factor of 3 than any hospital in Maryland. And that partnership we've had now, which spans 20-something years, is a true example of what we're doing. Some of those wonderful kids who've been born there to moms who may have not had their immigration status, but they are every bit our county residents. When I think about them, I know their kids are going to be running for the council someday. I think about my good friend Natalie Fani Gonzalez. The first time I worked with Natalie was when I was board chair at Casa Maryland, and Natalie was a go-getter then, and it's so exciting to me to see what you have done. So it's great to see all of you there. Gabe and others, thank you for everything you continue to do. It's, this is a challenging time in our nation's journey to form a more perfect union. And I'll tell you, having the privilege of really going around the country right now, I'm always very, very honored, and it gives me great comfort living at home in Montgomery County to see the investments that we all make there. Investments in ensuring that zip code never determines destiny. Investments in ensuring that every community has access to the American dream. And as we celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month, it is a time for reflection, and also it's a time to redouble our efforts moving forward. I've had the privilege in my current role of talking to a lot of mayors and governors and county executives and county council members across the country. And I think it's really important to understand the moment that we're in. It's obviously a moment of grave crisis, but it's a moment of tremendous opportunity. If you look at the social compact of the 20th century, the most remarkable additions were made during times of grave crisis. Look at the Great Depression and the New Deal that it spawned. Look at the Civil Rights Movement of the 60s. The laws I had the privilege of enforcing at the Department of Justice were, by and large, a product of that tumultuous Civil Rights era, out of which came the Fair Housing Act, the Civil Rights Act of 64, the Voting Rights Act of 65. And at this moment now, you've been remarkable beneficiaries of the American Rescue Plan, the Bipartisan Infrastructure Bill, the Inflation Reduction Act, the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act, the CHIPS and Science Act. we're living in a moment of tremendous opportunity, and I know you're taking advantage of it because I see what has been done. And one of the things I reflect on during Hispanic Heritage Month is the job creation that has taken place nationally and in the county as well for Latino workers. We've created about 4 million new jobs since this recovery began for Latino workers, and we have the lowest Latino unemployment rate on record. One of my biggest frustrations in this job right now is we know how to reduce childhood poverty. And why do I say that with such confidence? Because we did it with the child care tax credit, reducing childhood poverty by 40%, not just for Latinos, but across the board. And unfortunately, we couldn't get our Republican friends to make that permanent. Latino entrepreneurs. I was recently talking to some folks at a conference about Latino entrepreneurs have started new businesses at the fastest rate in over 10 years. And so there's a lot of investments. The student loan debt relief is a real boon. And as someone who was a Pell Grant kid, I'm really appreciative of the fact that the president has championed the largest increase in Pell Grants in the last decade. And, that Pell Grants and working 30 hours a week are how I got through college. So, we see a lot of progress, and I see the progress at a local level. And I really want to say thank you to you all for your attention to the real basic principle that we all succeed only when we all succeed. And when we make those investments, that's how we will do it. During COVID, I was so impressed with what the county did to make sure that Latinos were vaccinated. And at one point, if my memory serves me, and I think I have this conversation with you, Gabe, Latinos had the highest vaccination rate at one point. And that's a big deal. And that's a real feather in your cap in terms of how you engaged in culturally competent and really effective outreach. And that is, again, another example of why I love living in Montgomery County. And speaking of healthcare, this is a pretty important week because we won a lawsuit last week in federal court that was filed by Big Pharma trying to overturn basically the president's effort to force pharmaceutical companies to negotiate for lower prescription drug costs for 10 medicines. And if you look at the diseases and conditions for which those medicines apply, they disproportionately affect minority communities. And now all 10 companies announced that they will be negotiating with the federal government. That's a boon for all of our communities. And it's an especial boon for communities of color because they are disproportionately impacted. The notion that we have to pay more for a statin or all these drugs that they pay far less for if you live in Canada. I recall vividly when I was on the council and we took on this issue and we wanted to lower our prescription drug costs. And the FDA came and testified against our efforts 20 years ago. And the big headline in the Washington Post was, Perez to FDA, show me the dead Canadians. And so, this is happening now that because of the leadership of the Biden administration, we're going to get this done. And so the one thing I've learned and the one thing Joe Biden has learned in his job is we can't do this without our state and local partners. So I hope that in the weeks and months ahead, we will continue to stay in close touch because so much of what you do and how you do it is a model for other communities across the country. And we will continue to look to you for help. It was an honor and will always be an honor to have been the first Latino elected to the council. I always wanted to make sure I was never the last. And when I look at the council and I see what you have done and how you've grown, it just gives me great pride. And I hope you'll continue to do the great work in building a community that in which everybody has the chance to succeed. That's what it's all about. That's what Hispanic Heritage Month is all about, reflecting on our progress, but redoubling our efforts to make sure that everybody gets that fair shake. And, I see these challenges now in the immigration work I'm doing. I've spent a lot of time in New York City and with folks in Chicago and elsewhere. Greg Abbott, I'm trying to think of a polite thing to say about Greg Abbott. Nothing comes to mind. He is using immigrants as pawns and sending busloads to places like New York and Chicago. And it's unconscionable. We need comprehensive immigration reform. And we used to have dance partners in this. If you read Ronald Reagan's last speech as president of the United States, you know what it was about? It's about immigrants and the main contributions of immigrants. And he said, and I quote, the moment we stop welcoming immigrants, we will stop being a strong nation. That was Ronald Reagan. George W. Bush was very helpful in our efforts. And so, I leave you with this because this is a real struggle right now, and we are working hard to address this. There's no substitute for comprehensive immigration reform, and I hope you'll help us in these efforts because we have demonstrated as a county that our diversity is exactly our greatest strength. It is why we continue to be an engine. We have world-class schools. We have world-class healthcare. And where would we be without our diverse communities? That's the example that you set, and I hope we can set it for the nation because we still have more work to do to build that more perfect union. And with that, I will get out of your way. Thank you for inviting me to this celebration, and thank you, Mr. Vice President, for your leadership, and to all of you for the example you set day in and day out.
Well, thank you so much. We're honored for you to be able to join us today. You're never in our way. You're there to show us the way, and we really appreciate that and feel very fortunate in Montgomery County to have somebody in the White House with such extensive local, state, and federal experience. There are a few people in the country who have the breadth of experience on the ground at every level of government as Tom Perez has, and we're so grateful and appreciative for your leadership. As we continue here with our 10th annual Hispanic Heritage Month commemoration at the Council, I just want to acknowledge Ana Silva from Senator Chris Van Hollen's office. We have Pedro Rodriguez and colleagues from the Consulate General of El Salvador, Carlos Guevara, as well, the Vice Consulate of El Salvador. We have Delegate Joe Vogel, delegate from District 17, Marco Rivera Oven, Central Committee member at large, and as well Elba Garcia on behalf of the Superintendent of MCPS. Thank you all for I'm sorry, and Chief Jones, who I didn't see walk in. He's sitting in the back, but we welcome Police Chief Jones. Thank you so much to Marcus Jones for being here as well. We're really honored to have this commemoration, have so many honored guests, community members, and friends to join us. It really is a privilege to be here to celebrate with all of you and to really commemorate our multicultural community and to acknowledge the contributions of more than 200,000 Latino and Hispanic community members who make the choice to call Montgomery County their home. It's important that we take the time to honor and celebrate the diverse cultures that strengthen and enrich our society, and to recognize the leaders who are uplifting the Latino community and our entire community by spotlighting the issues that impact our diverse community in Montgomery County. From cuisine and culture to arts and sciences to government and advocacy and everything in between, Montgomery County's Hispanic and Latino residents help to drive positive change in our community each and every day. So it's fitting that this year's theme is Nosotros, the rise of Latino influence in the United States, where Montgomery County is in so many ways a shining example to the country and to the world. We have an outstanding video commemoration to share with everybody today, which we're very excited about. And I'm excited to be honoring special community leaders, along with each and every colleague who are driving prosperity, power, and progress right here in Montgomery County and making an impact far beyond Montgomery County's borders. In addition to Tom Perez, who we just heard from, leaders highlighted in today's video are Lieutenant Kathy Estrada, 6th District Lieutenant for Gaithersburg and Montgomery Village, Carlos Represa, Community Service Aide for DHHS's Street Outreach Network, Jaime Arbaiza, Director of Operations of Centrata Food Group, which includes La Casita Pupuseria, Pedro Matamoros, who is chef and owner of Frank's Burger Place and El Chante Restaurant, which is serving today's lunch, which if you're getting hungry, we probably can already smell it. And I want to give a special thanks and a special token of gratitude to Marcelo Rodriguez Villagran, Joe Thompson, and Mike Cohen. Let's give them a round of applause. Who have put together just an incredible video that really shares the strength and the beauty and the power that exists within our community. Thanks as well to Berta Sarsasima and Lucia Jimenez for organizing today's lunch, which we are all looking forward to. I don't know if I can actually smell it or if I think I could smell it, but it smells really good. I also want to thank Myra Cruz Solis for her outstanding work leading the Latino Civic Project, Claudia Davis for her essential Spanish interpretation services and community outreach, and all of our Latino Council staff who go above and beyond each and every day in service to our diverse community in Montgomery County. We are grateful for you, we are appreciative of you, and we are so happy to be able to call you colleagues and to work with you each and every day. So with that, happy Hispanic Heritage Month. It is now my privilege and honor to turn it over to my friend and our immediate past president, Councilmember Gabe Albornoz.
All right, hola mi gente, ¿cómo están? So this truly is my favorite day of the year as a council member. And it's not just because of the great food. It's because when I look out into this audience, I get a similar feeling to the feeling I felt when I looked out into the audience the day I got married. Because you are all family. And when I look in this audience, I see extraordinary leaders in every sector and corner of our community. I see elected officials. I see public servants. I see law enforcement officials. I see teachers and scientists and doctors. We are contributing to our community on every conceivable level, and we're doing it every day. 1983 was when President Reagan enacted the executive order that promoted then Hispanic Heritage Week. And let's think back to 1983. I was 7 years old. I was living in Gaithersburg with my mom, Marisol and Marcelo, who hail from Ecuador and Chile, respectively. And I was in second grade. There were 4 Latino students in my entire elementary school, and one of them was named Fernanda, and my mom bribed me with Transformers to dance the cuenca with her at the Montgomery County International Fair. She's a doctor now. She's doing great. She's a pediatrician that lives in Montgomery County. And I also remember that 2 years after that, we moved in with my grandparents, or they moved in with us. And how fortunate I was to live in a multi-generational house and learn from them. And that's how I was able to maintain my Spanish, which I utilize every day and has been such an asset in my work in the community my entire professional and personal career. As I look out into this audience, I feel a tremendous sense of hope, because we know and acknowledge, as Tom mentioned in his beautiful words, that our community has been challenged. But what we have to remember is that we truly are a family. We have to have each other's backs, because unfortunately, there are many of us that don't have the opportunity to vote or speak on behalf of themselves. We will disagree on policy matters from time to time, passionately disagree on policy matters from time to time. But what we all agree on is what Tom also said, that we acknowledge and understand that we all succeed when we all succeed. We have a tremendous responsibility to carry the torch that has been laid on this body by both Tom and Councilmember Navarro, who we miss deeply. But their commitment and their commitment to excellence set a bar that I am proud to be serving alongside Councilmember Fanny Gonzalez to try and meet and exceed every single day. We know that another looming presidential election cycle will be upon us. And once again, our community will be scapegoated and blamed for many of the challenges that we have before us. There will be arguments made that we take much more than we give. There will be arguments made that we contribute negatively to our society. But we in this room and we in this body and we in this community stand up to that hatred, stand up to those misconceptions of who we are, because we are Latino. We are proud of who we are. Yeah. You can take the Latino America, you can take us out of Latino America, but you cannot take the Latino America out of each and every single one of us. None of us will forget where we came from. All of us will continue to be committed to build bridges and ensure that future generations have the same opportunities that have been afforded to us. Because in 1983, 5% of the population in Montgomery County was Latino. Today it's hovering over 20, and over 34% of our public school system are Latino students. And it's even a much higher percentage for third graders and under. So we are here and we are here to stay, and thank God we are. Because we are going to continue to contribute in every sense of the word. So as long as I'm breathing, I am going to do everything possible to uplift the voices of our community and make sure that they are heard. So thank you to my colleagues for indulging us on this really important day. On this day when we recognize the contributions of our community, but double down on our commitment to that very same community and future generations as well. Muchísimas gracias por estar aquí con ustedes. And with that, I now have the privilege of introducing my good friend and the friend of all of us, Councilmember Fanny Gonzalez, who is the only immigrant that serves on this body. A perspective that's critically important, particularly today. Who was named as chair of our Economic Development Committee, and who has, through her personal story, her journey, but more importantly, her work, is something we can all be proud of as a community. Councilmember Fanny Gonzalez.
Thank you, Gabe. I'm going to keep it short and sweet and say that I am so proud and can't wait for Titanes Salseros to come here and dance. I see them over here. They're from Einstein High School, which is in my district. But when I say that I love seeing this community and our diversity, I think people feel, especially me coming from another country, I came to the States when I was 16 years old with my mom, like a typical immigrant, you know. I came to Langley Park, the Mecca, and then I moved to Montgomery County right after that. And our community is so beautiful because it's so diverse, and it's reflected also not just by the food, which we love and I can't wait, but also by the music. And we're gonna see it with Titanes Salseros from Einstein High School. Remember that Latinos is not a race, it's an ethnicity, okay? We come from everywhere. Just look at my family. My mom was born, I was born in Venezuela, but my mom was born in Dominican Republic, and her family came from Lebanon to Dominican Republic. So she's Lebanese Dominican. Then she left with her family to Venezuela when she was a child, and then my dad, they both passed away. I always talk in the present tense. My dad was Italian and came to Venezuela like many immigrants from Europe to looking for opportunities, and then they met and they got married and they had children, and I was one of them. but the music that we have in Latin America is reflection of all this diversity. With my example being, Arab and European, and having my family members who are, Black from Africa. All of that is reflected in our music, in our salsa, in flamenco, in merengue, and that's the beauty of being Latinos. That is a truly melting pot. When I came to the States, people were saying, "Well, you came to the melting pot." I was like, "No, man, I'm from Latin America. Are you kidding me? That is truly a melting pot." That you can see people from, every single religion that you can imagine is in Latin America. And I think that seeing you all here from, with different complexities and backgrounds, is just a reflection of that reality. And I'm just very proud to be in the Montgomery County Council, especially representing District 6, which is a district with the highest number of Latinos. So in Montgomery County is my district, and it just makes sense that a Latina represents the district with the highest numbers of Latinos, because that's how it should be. And we're term limited, which I'm, pretty much saying that whoever is going to replace me better be Latino. I'm just saying, because that's important, having representation. It's very, very important. Maybe Tessa, my daughter, right now. So anyway, I'm just going to end it there. And I thank you for being here. And thank you for the partnership, and thank you to Montgomery County for welcoming people like me. And this is a place I call home. I chose, as Council Vice President Fritzl mentioned, we chose to come here and live here. I chose to become an American citizen after being trying to be deported. I was getting deported, but I was able to stay. But I chose to live here and fight for my citizenship. I could have lived anywhere in the nation, but Montgomery County, we have our challenges, but all it takes is going around on vacation anywhere in this nation, and you think we have a good thing here, and we just need to make sure that we keep having it good and make it even better for everybody, regardless of where they were born, the language they speak, their religion, their sexual orientation, and so on and so forth. And with that, I yield back to Council Vice President, and thank you all.
Thank you to both of our colleagues. It's an honor to serve with both of you. I know I speak for everybody when I say that, truly. And now we have a very special presentation. So we will open up the dance floor now. We have special musical performance, the award-winning Titano Salseros, Albert Einstein High School's competitive Latin dance group led by Mrs. Paula Pero, who is the school's World Language Department resource teacher, excuse me.
Titanes Salseros presenta.
Que comience la fiesta.
Amores como el nuestro que daña muy pocos. Del cielo caen estrellas sin oír deseos. Deshojar una rosa y es cosa de tontos. A nadie le interesan ya los sentimientos. Como los unicornios.
Let's hear it one more time for Titanas Salseros. And thank you again to Mrs. Pero for your leadership and all of your work. That was incredible. Wow. So just wanted to also note, came just in time, Delegate Gabe Acevedo has joined us, and glad that you joined in time to see that incredible performance. We are now going to shift gears and turn towards a great video presentation, which we're very appreciative. Our staff has worked quite hard on, and we are going to turn it over to the team to cue the video.
Feliz Mes de la Herencia Hispana. The Montgomery County Council honors nosotros, the rise of Latino influence in the United States. We honor nuestra cultura, nuestras contribuciones y nuestras raíces. I will take you on a journey into the lives of local and national figures who are shaping the future of our county and of our nation by contributing to our economy, our political representation, and the progress of Montgomery County. Pupusas are a staple of a Salvadoran cuisine. They are made of handmade corn tortillas that are filled with a variety of ingredients. The most popular pupusas are the ones made of queso con loroco, frijoles, or revueltas con chicharrón. It is believed that they were created over 2,000 years ago by the indigenous people tribe. Around 1570, after the Spanish colonization, the vegetarian dish, originally filled with squash blossoms, herbs, and mushrooms, evolved by incorporating cheese, refried beans, pork, curtido, and tomato sauce. Today, pupusas are known worldwide, a dish that tastes like heaven. And in Montgomery County, La Casita Pupuseria honors this flavorful gastronomical gift. For over 2 decades, La Casita Pupuseria has brought to the Salvadoran diaspora a taste of their country and has introduced to Montgomery County the flavorful typical dishes of the Salvadoran cuisine.
What we try to make is a fantastic dining experience. It's about a link between what was their parents, their immigration to this country, which brings their culture, obviously the food, and then the bridge to us, which is the future and the next generation, that we don't want to lose those traditions.
La Casita Pupuseria quickly became a bridge that connected Salvadorans to their roots, while at the same time showing Montgomery County the delightful cuisine of the smallest country in Central America.
En La Casita nosotros tenemos la gran oportunidad de ofrecerles un buen producto, una buena calidad de comida saludable. Empezamos con las pupusas, los rellenos, y que fuera un ambiente muy hermoso.
And this year celebrates the 20th anniversary of providing delicious cuisine.
2 decades ago, their first location opened its doors in the heart of District 4, an accomplishment honored with a proclamation by Council President Evan Glass and District 4 Council member Kate Stewart.
Currently, we have 4 brick and mortar locations. We run a food truck as well, which we take to festivals and local events and caterings.
In 2018, La Casita Pupuseria reached another milestone. Nationals Park, one of the biggest and most important venues in the world of sports in America, became the home of #Pupusas at the park.
It's an amazing food. It's an amazing cuisine. Growing up, it was one of my favorite things eating, and I was a picky kid too. So that's saying something.
Without a doubt, Montgomery County's diversity has played an important role in their growth as entrepreneurs.
Montgomery County siempre apoya a las comunidades, principalmente los que quieren triunfar, quieren salir adelante.
La Casita Pupuseria is an example of the entrepreneurial spirit of our immigrant community in Montgomery County, a chain of small businesses that have become a strong force in our economy, but most importantly, a place to cherish our Latin culture.
Food to me is a vehicle to make people happy.
Pedro Matamoros is an example of how to conquer adversity and transform it into a stepping stone towards achieving one's dreams.
Spending a lot of time at home, and we were like, we need more restaurants in Wheaton, and that's the idea came out.
Against all odds, he followed his passion for cooking and fearlessly launched Frank's Burger Place amidst the challenges of COVID-19 restaurant closures.
Frank's is my stepdad, so he loved burgers. One day we were talking about like we should do something casual here in Wheaton, our community. And I cooked some burgers for him and he loved it. He said, wow, I never had burgers like this. And I was like, because this is good beef, natural beef.
His unique cultural background has influenced the restaurant's offerings, providing customers with a one-of-a-kind dining experience.
The whole concept of the burgers that we're doing is like keep it simple, just good ingredients. We make our sauces, we make our mayonnaise, just cheese, burger, and lettuce and tomato and pico.
Pedro Matamoros immigrated from Nicaragua to the United States when he was 23 years old. Since then, he has made a significant impact on the culinary scene by introducing Nicaraguan flavors and ingredients to his menu.
During the pandemic too, like we were like, let's do something different, like provide something different. And we started doing specials like fritanga, which is street food in Nicaragua. It kind of like took off. Like now we can take it off the menu.
Nestled in the heart of District 6, Frank's Burger Place is a family-owned restaurant that takes pride in offering dishes crafted with the finest and freshest, all-natural, hormone-free ingredients.
Beef is local from Maryland. All our products, we try to do seasonal. We try to get always the best ingredients. And we try not to go too far to get our ingredients. We like local source ingredients.
Frank's Burger Place has become a popular go-to spot for foodies and burgers lovers alike. And now, Frank's Burger Place is expanding its culinary offerings by opening a second location in the vibrant city of Wheaton this fall.
This is going to become more like a Nicaraguan place, El Chante. We're working on some details and we're going to be opening District Bistro.
The new restaurant will continue to offer the same high-quality dishes that Frank's Burger Place is known for, while also introducing exciting new menu items that are sure to delight our vibrant communities in Wheaton.
Time is the most precious asset we have, and I want to make sure I use every day of my life to give back.
His work speaks for itself. Tom Perez, a proud son of immigrants from La República Dominicana, is a Latino trailblazer and a powerful voice on issues such as education, immigration, and the interests of working families.
This country's promise that if you're willing to work hard, it doesn't matter who you are, where you come from, what your last name is, you can make it if you try. And Tom's made protecting that promise for everybody the cause of his life.
The moral compass of my parents was always something that guided me, even though my dad died way too young. And what they always taught us was, to whom much is given, much is expected. And we measure our success by how we treat those who are living in the shadows. And that's what I've tried to devote my entire life doing.
Perez has dedicated his life to public service at the local, state, and federal levels. He previously served as the United States Assistant Attorney General for Civil Rights, as the United States Secretary of Labor, as the chair of the Democratic National Committee, and currently as the senior advisor and liaison to state and local governments to the President of the United States.
My job working for the President is to make sure that we are implementing his agenda.
His long track record of public service has roots in Montgomery County, where in 2002, he made history by becoming the first Latino to ever serve on the council as the District 5 representative.
When I had the privilege of serving on the council, we worked very closely with all stakeholders to modernize the program so that we would make housing affordability, a reality for more people.
During his time at the council, he served on the Health and Human Services and Transportation and the Environment committees. In 2005, he was elected council president.
20 years ago or so, we put in place a program that ensured that pregnant women who were undocumented could get access to prenatal care and access to healthy living so that they would give birth to a healthy Montgomery County resident.
Tom Perez, a husband and father of 3, has reached the peak of success, a triumph that began with the dreams of his parents of a better life, earned with honesty, hard work, and education.
I'm proud of my service on the county council, and I'm proud of the things we were able to do.
Tom Perez is a true trailblazer for Latinos. His legacy will continue to impact future generations. In a profession mostly dominated by males, she is a fearless leader. Lieutenant Katy Estrada is breaking glass ceilings by serving the county that raised her with honor and dedication.
When I was in Wheaton High School, I had a teacher who reached out to me and he's like, you know what, I think you'd be perfect to do the mock trial team. And I was like, okay. And that's where I think my love and my passion for the law started and the justice system.
A passion that became a professional aspiration. As a high school student, she joined MCPD's Law Enforcement Explorer, a program that trains MCPS students in areas such as law enforcement, leadership, and life skills.
I was a Police Explorer program up until I graduated high school. And what started my other passion was, working with people.
She knew from that moment on that her true calling was in the field of law enforcement, where she could make a significant impact on society.
I had one of the recruiters, when I was a Police Explorer, reach out to me and said, you know what, they're hiring. And I was like, okay. So I put in my application, and you know what they say, the rest is history. So I went through the academy, session 48, and then I was assigned to the 4th District, Wheaton-Glenmont District, where I did my FTO. I was there for a few years, and then I applied for and received the position as a detective. Then it was family crimes. Now it's the Special Victims Investigations Division. So I was a detective in our domestic violence and elder abuse, and then in our sexual assault unit, and then missing children and runaways.
Her exceptional skills, talent, and ability to investigate crimes were the perfect formula for her professional growth. For the first time, a Hispanic female was executing and leading one of the toughest and most critical jobs in the field of public safety.
I was promoted to sergeant, where I was in the 3rd District, and then Community Engagement Division. I was honored by being promoted to lieutenant, where I was placed in Criminal Investigations Division. Currently, I'm assigned to the Special Victims Investigations Division as the deputy director.
Estrada, a proud first-generation Guatemalan American, credits her parents for instilling in her an unwavering spirit of perseverance and an unshakable confidence in her abilities to conquer any challenges.
When I was little, my dad would always tell me, never quit, never give up. It was like our motto.
As a young girl, Katy Estrada admired Wonder Woman's pursuit of truth, justice, and equality. It was inspired to follow in her footsteps.
I'm very honored and humbled, especially since I lived in this community the majority of my life and I've seen it grow. And I know that we still have a lot of growth to do. And so I want to, tell and inspire the little boys and girls out there to tell them that it can be done. Sí se puede.
Katy Estrada's story is one of true inspiration. She serves as a role model for young girls everywhere. The future is indeed female.
Let's go. I had a mentor, and now I am a mentor to many, many youth in Montgomery County.
Son united, unidos, para parar la violencia en Montgomery County.
Not all heroes wear capes. Carlos Represa is a Montgomery County employee who is making a difference in the lives of hundreds of young people. Sports, music, friendship and mentorship are the instruments he uses to fuel them resilience in the face of adversity. But growing up, he didn't have the easiest childhood. During his teenage years, the dangers of gangs threatened to tarnish the bright future that his mother always believed he could have.
I grew up in California, Los Angeles, and in that time, in the early 90s, there was a lot of gang activities.
Represa will never forget the unexpected decision that changed his life, fleeing with his mother more than 2,600 miles across the country to the state of Maryland.
My mentor, Jeff Edgar, was instrumental in allowing me the space to vent and not having to go into that lifestyle as well, into the gang life or, roaming the streets and stuff like that, because he gave me activities, he gave me things to do.
Va, listo, muchacho, listo!
Through the Street Outreach Network, he interacts with historically underserved youth and uses positive development programs, constructive relationships, activities, and music as the intervening vehicle to redirect their lives and cultivate values of respect, integrity, and responsibility.
Throughout just the Street Outreach Network, I'm possibly working with about 150, 160 youth per year in the various school groups that I work in and the various community activities that we do, our Summer of Peace activities that we do. And to see the process of when they start and they're these immature, angry, trauma-filled youth to being very proud, very hardworking contributors to Montgomery County.
He is known as El Tío, the uncle to all the teens that wait to get picked up, excited to spend a fun-filled afternoon.
I'm very happy and lucky to work for an organization that provides us transportation. And it becomes this bonding moment in the van where everybody kind of, comes together as a group and shares and jokes at the same time, but ultimately, it becomes a family.
¡Vámonos a ganar, muchachos!
Latinos are known for their passion for soccer. Represa uses their love for sports to attract them, keep them entertained, while creating a pathway between school and out-of-school time to reinforce positive emotional development, problem solving, self-efficacy, and a connection with the community.
There's a lot of youth in the county that miss an opportunity to play the sport that they love, especially newcomers who recently arrived, students from Central America, South America. When they come here, one of the main things that I'm able to attract them is, I got free soccer, man, I got uniforms. So having them play in the Soccer for Change program for years now has given me an opportunity to hold practices with them. So we practice maybe once or twice a week. We have to do a community service project as part of the program.
His love for sports, music, and most importantly, his very own personal experiences give Represa the empathy needed to connect with our youth, especially with those that have recently arrived to the United States, fleeing violence and many traumatic experiences.
My job, I believe, is to take what was given to me, what was done for me, and to share it with now the youth that I work with.
Represa is changing our world and the lives of our youth one at a time, investing in the future of Montgomery County.
On three, son. 1, 2, 3, son!
Thank you to Marcella and Joe and Mike for that incredible video. And let's hear it one more time for Lieutenant Estrada, Tom Perez, Carlos Represa, Jaime Arbaiza, and Pedro Matamoros. These incredible leaders really do reflect the strength and the beauty within our community. I am very excited now to turn to the proclamation where all of our colleagues are going to read it to commemorate this special occasion. And then I'm going to suggest that our incredible students and those who are in the video join us to take a picture facing that way, the normal way, so to speak. And then for the first time, I'm going to suggest that we flip and turn around and we take a picture going out so that we can have the entire community who is here today that reflects our county and our community as part of the picture of what this day is all about, to commemorate the strength of our unity and our diversity. So with that, we're going to read the proclamation, and then we are going to move on to pictures. And then without any further ado, we're going to follow in Marcela's footsteps, and we're going to start eating this delicious food. I was jealous watching. So we have a proclamation of the Montgomery County Council, whereas since 1988, Hispanic Heritage Month serves as a time for all to celebrate the histories, cultures, and contributions of residents whose ancestors came from Spain, Mexico, the Caribbean, and Central and South America.
And whereas, according to the Pew Research Center, the number of Latinos who self-identified as being more than one race has increased exponentially in recent years, from 3 million in 2010 to over 27 million in 2022. And
whereas the terms Hispanic, Latino, Latina, Latin, and Latinx are not monolithic terms and encompass a wide range of identities within the community to help better celebrate this shared ancestry and unique historical and present-day accomplishments. And
whereas Hispanic Americans have helped shape our history and drive progress for all people. They are innovative entrepreneurs driving our economy, artists enriching our world, scientists and engineers revolutionizing our ways of life and making new discoveries, chefs providing food and assistance to those in need across the world, as well as advocates leading the way for social and political change, and so much more. And
whereas the U.S. Hispanic population reached 63.6 million in 2022, making up 1 in 5 people in the United States. And
whereas, according to the 2020 census, the Latino population in Montgomery County has increased by more than 30% since 2010, making us more than 20% of the county's total population. And
whereas Montgomery County recognizes that Hispanic and Latino Americans represent a wide array of cultures from 38 countries and territories. And
whereas Latinos in Montgomery County have been central to the development and prosperity of our community by contributing to the advancement of the economy, arts, science, sports, religion, business, education, and public service, and by affirming the importance of family bonds and community spirit. And
whereas to commemorate Hispanic Heritage Month, which started on September 15th and ends on October 15th, we recognize the achievements and contributions of Latino leaders and express our gratitude for the impact they have across our community. And
whereas today the Montgomery County Council marks its 10th annual Hispanic Heritage Month commemoration, and its theme for this year is Nosotros, the rise of Latino influence in the United States. And
whereas we encourage residents to take time to come together with their Latino friends, family, and neighbors to learn more about the rich, diverse traditions, cuisines, music, histories, and life experiences. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the County Council of Montgomery County, Maryland, hereby celebrates National Hispanic Heritage Month, presented on this 3rd day of October in the year 2023, signed by Councilmember Gabe Albornoz, Councilmember Fanny Gonzalez, the Council President, on behalf of the entire Montgomery County Council. Congratulations and happy Hispanic Heritage Month. Okay, Mrs. Sparrow and dance team, come on up. We're going to take a picture. All of our highlighted leaders in the community, please come on up. We're going to take a picture on the dance floor, I should call it. And then we're going to turn around and we're going to capture. So stick around if you're a community member who's here. We want to make sure you're part of this picture as well. And before I do, I want to acknowledge Team Raskin is here as well. Thank you to Congressman Raskin for all of his leadership. We appreciate you joining us today to commemorate this special moment.